Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sentinel channel. I'm Pep. Now it's occurred to me that I've done a couple of videos recently where I have reviewed a fragrance, and one of the things I mentioned in those videos is that the performance, specifically the longevity, wasn't quite up to par or a little bit disappointing for a fragrance that smelled really good. For instance, 1270 by Frappin, which I'll put a link to in the video, and even my last review of Yves Saint Laurent's M7 Oud Absolu. I mentioned how lovely it smelled, and I wish it just lasted a bit longer on my skin. So what I'm going to do today is a video with 8 designer fragrances, and these are all in my collection, and these are the ones that have great performance in terms of longevity. Some will be no surprise, but others you may have not thought of in terms of being very good lasting fragrances on my skin. Now, I'm stressing these are on my skin. So this video will be designers, and then I'll do a video on niche fragrances with great performance. And I will say straight away that these designer fragrances, they're not going to be in any particular order, only to say that I get minimum 8 hours on the skin where I can smell the fragrance still quite easily after 8 hours. So it's around the 8 to 10 hour mark. Now for me, with a designer, that's a great result in terms of longevity. When I do my niche video, they will all be 10 hours plus. So it's quite clear when I'm picking these fragrances that I don't know if it's a coincidence, but the niche fragrances, these particular niche fragrances, have just beastly performance on my skin. Don't get me wrong, there are probably niche fragrances that perform very poorly. In fact, I'm sure I've got some in my collection, as there are designers. So I'll kick this off. We'll talk about 8 long-lasting designer fragrances. Alright guys, so this is not in any particular order. I've chosen 8 because these 8 fragrances last quite significantly longer than the rest of my designer fragrances, and on my skin I get very, very good performance. If you have a different experience with your skin, then I can only put it down to the chemistry of that fragrance on your skin. I can't think of any reason why. I know that there are some fragrances that don't work on me, and I hear people just getting great performance from them. But I'll kick off straight away. So the first fragrance that I'm going to talk about is none other than Chanel Antaeus. Again guys, this has been around since 1981. Beautiful animalic fragrance, very masculine, castoreum woods. There is a beeswax note in here, but importantly for this powerhouse, and it is a powerhouse, I'm sure it's been reformulated since its initial release, but this still lasts all day on my skin. If you like animalic fragrances, this is a great, I think, entry point, because I don't find the castoreum note in this current version very challenging, but it's still everything that you expect it to be if you've done any reading or research on Antaeus. So Chanel Antaeus, easily 10 hours at least, and smells beautiful. The dry down in this is fantastic. The opening is probably the most challenging, if I had to call it anything, point of this fragrance. Once this dries down, it's just a gorgeous fragrance. So that's Chanel Antaeus. Okay, next fragrance is from the Tom Ford line. It's not a private blend, and this I believe is probably one or two that are probably suitable for warmer weather. Normally you find that fresh style fragrances do not last anywhere near as long as, you know, the colder style fragrances, but I find I get fantastic performance. This is a magnificent office scent and it lasts all day at work on me, and it projects, and it's a great smell. It's a classic, and this is Tom Ford Grey Vetiver Eau de Parfum formulation or concentration. I haven't tried the EDT, but this is just fantastic. It is the first vetiver dominant fragrance that I got. Probably I smelled Terre Hermes before this, but this has a lovely citrusy blend with the vetiver in it, and it's just so refined and masculine, and performs amazingly well for what it is, and it's great for most seasons, but it's at its best when the weather is warmer. Grey Vetiver by Tom Ford. Next is a fragrance I have done a video of, and as much as I probably don't wear this very often anymore, just because it's kind of become a little bit too sweet for my nose, it has always had very, very good performance on my skin, and I don't think it has any issues with projection or performance or longevity, and that is Montblanc Individual. If you like that sweet raspberry opening, that similarity to Original Santal by Creed, and some similarity to Yupom, this is the bottle for you, because you can 3 sprays of this, it'll keep you going all day, and I imagine that this would be pretty good for you younger guys who like clubbing and going out. Individual by Montblanc. Next is another one I've recently done a video of, and should be no surprise that given that Chanel Antaeus is in this list, Yves Saint Laurent Curraghs should be in this list. Now, my experience about the performance of this fragrance is based on this bottle, which is I think the version pre the current formulation. So this is still quite a powerhouse, still very a dirty style fougere, but the performance is fantastic. Most seasons it's suitable for, into spring. You know, I could wear this in warmer weather, probably not in stinking hot weather, but Curraghs up to 12 hours easily I get on my skin, and it's probably a staple for powerhouse lovers. Okay, so next on my list is a classic from Chanel again. This was released in 1990. I believe the original formulation was even stronger than the current one, but this one, I've got a new bottle of this. This one still gives me a good 10 hours on my skin. I probably would spray more of this than I would something like the Antaeus, but it's still very strong. Probably not a big projector in terms of sillage and other people being able to smell it, but that's Chanel Egoist, not to be confused with Platinum Egoist. This is the original one. Lovely woody sandalwood, spice, rose. It's just a classic fragrance, and I love it. It's in my top 10 of my collection, and sometimes I wonder why I don't wear this more, but I've got so many fragrances to get through and test. I'm sure that once I start whittling my collection down, this will get a lot more wears. Chanel Egoist. Next one also needs no introduction. I probably could have included another from this, well, more than a few from this line, but I found that I've noticed the performance on this a lot more than the others, and the longevity is really, really good. And to me, this is one of the best smelling fragrances I've ever put my nose on for a designer. I still haven't smelled anything that really matches the excitement I got the first time I smelled this, and that is none other than Pure Malt, Amen Pure Malt by Thierry Mugler. What can I say? It's boozy, it's got beautiful patchouli and cocoa in there, and a fantastic winter nighttime fragrance, but you know, you don't need any excuse to spray this on and smell it. I smell this for my own enjoyment. So that's Pure Malt by Mugler. Okay, we're down to the last two. This one I've definitely well, the next two I've actually spoken about in separate videos, and I'll leave links to those videos as well. This is, I think, the cheapest one I have in this list, and it's still a powerhouse. It's not a vintage formulation. It's what you can buy in most discounted stores now, and it's from Aramis, and it's Havana. It's old school spicy tobacco blended in with barbershop style fragrance, and man, 2 sprays and still smelling it up to 12 hours later. And for the price, it's the best value in terms of performance, and if you like the smell, it's the best value from this list. I can't recommend it enough as a cheapie for what it is. It smells great, as long as you understand that it's probably a more mature type smell, and a lot of younger guys may find this a bit dated. But that's Aramis Havana. This brings me to the last fragrance on this video from this list. It's from the house of Loccitane, and again, I've done a video on this one. This is the wonderful woody green vanilla eau de bol by Loccitane. I was very surprised by this. I know I'm going to get comments from people saying that they don't get great performance from this, but I was pretty astounded the first time I wore this that I need to put a disclaimer on this. The first time I wore this, I got 12 hours on me, but I have to say I was sitting in a train all day while I was wearing this, so I wasn't moving around a lot, and so I probably didn't warm up enough to burn this off my skin, if that's actually something that happens. But I was less active that day, but all through my train trip I could constantly smell it. Put it on 7 in the morning, could still smell it 7 in the evening. Subsequent wearings of it, I'm getting similar but not quite the same longevity, although it's still great. But that's mainly because I've kind of been doing stuff when I've worn it. It's still, for the price, again, great value, and you know, you don't need many sprays. That's a 100ml bottle. You can get it for about 70. I've got this for under $70 Australian, and this will last me ages. Literally, the bottle will, and the fragrance on my skin. So that's eau de bol from Loccitane. Alright, so they're my 8 designer best performers. My next video will be a niche list. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've tried any of these and if you agree, or you're getting the same level of performance on your skin. If you've got other ones that you want to mention, by all means put them in the comments, and I will see you soon for my niche list. Thanks.